Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, I would have done this earlier this morning, except I wanted to rest, and I was doing a quick laundry to get some clothes cleaned for work today, and of course I was calling up the Start, the Start bus service to try to get a pickup, if you will, a dollar ride, which I was successful in doing, and it actually worked out because I was only like maybe 9 minutes late getting to work, but hey, it's better than showing up almost 20 minutes late. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was planning to do this Hell in a Cell review live through Google Hangouts, but didn't get a chance to do that. So I decided, you know what? If I'm gonna do it during lunch at work, I'm gonna do it. And ironically, my lunch, believe it or not, was only an hour and a half after I clocked in. It's a 5-hour day for me, so yeah, I ended up clocking in, and then almost an hour and a half later, or an hour or 80 minutes later, I end up going to lunch. It's kind of weird. But anyway, long story short, I don't know if maybe they messed up or something and they were supposed to send me to break. But no, it was lunch instead, because I guess it makes sense instead of, because I'm guessing that if they would have sent me to break at 1 and then I got back, I would have gone to work, lunch at 2 o'clock maybe, and came back at 3 and maybe had a 4 o'clock break. Maybe would have worked. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out when I get back inside. But yeah, my CSM, my manager, my front end manager asked me if I wanted to go to lunch already. I was thinking, did she say lunch or she mean break? So I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I guess if I come back and then I go to break around 3:30, it makes sense, and they have me for the next nearly hour and a half of work. But I don't know, it's weird the way it worked out. I mean, I could guess, 1 to 2 actually works out that way, because then I come back and then I work an hour and a half, and then I go to my last break, or I work 2 hours, then I go to my last break. I don't know. It's weird how it works out. I guess they're gonna do something. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But anyway, getting to this review of Hell in a Cell. Just wanted to give, just giving my thoughts on the event itself. And I did watch the whole event. I did miss the beginning. I didn't watch the kickoff show, but I heard the match was good. And from the highlights they showed throughout the pay-per-view, or during the pay-per-view, definitely showed that the match between New Day and Rusev and Aiden English was good. So, that's nice to see. And I'm assuming the Bar is good. So from what I understand, the Bar is going to be the next challengers for them at Super Showdown. I don't know if the Bar will win. If they do, that'll be a surprise. But I think honestly, WWE might be saving those tag titles, believe it or not, for Sanity. I know some people would think, well, Sanity hasn't been utilized right. I think they're just waiting for the right opportunity to get the belts on them, and I think that opportunity is coming up real soon. But anyway, getting to the pay-per-view itself, I thought it was overall okay, an alright pay-per-view. I thought it was alright. I'll put it this way, for B-level, in your house like pay-per-view, because mainly that's what these are. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You can hide it all you want. These are nothing more than the modern day equivalent of in your house events. That's all they are. They're just in your house. You could literally take the words in your house, put it underneath the dominant title of the event, And you pretty much have exactly that. It's basically Hell in a Cell in your house. It's basically something like Backlash in your house. It's something like Extreme Rules in your house. That's all they are. They're just in your house events. But getting on focus here, the first match was Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, Hell in a Cell from SmackDown, from the SmackDown side of things. And to say that this, I think WWE is kind of confused right now about what's PG and what's not PG is saying something. Because here's what I think's going on. I think WWE realizes Fox can be a little edgy with its shows at times, or with its programming. So they're probably thinking, if Fox can be edgy with certain programming they have right now, they might want SmackDown to be edgy too. So in other words, a little bit more ruthless aggression-like. Maybe. So my guess is they're testing the waters here. My guess is they're testing the waters by allowing a little bit of leeway when it comes to certain matches involving the SmackDown brand. That's what I'm thinking. So, yeah, this match was violent. There's no doubt. It was, I wouldn't say it was on the levels. I wouldn't say it was on the levels of a Pentagon, Sami Callihan, Mask versus Hair violence, if you will. I wouldn't say it was on that level, but it was close. I mean, basically what Jeff and Randy were allowed to do to each other in this match was unbelievable. I mean, the fact that WWE went even as far as to show a piece of Randy Orton's skin dangling from his leg, his thigh, because he had been ripped to shreds with the studs and a belt buckle, and because he had been ripped to shreds thanks to studs on a belt buckle. I think they were Jeff Hardy's belt or something like that. As well as he'd been whacked multiple times with a chair. I mean, these guys put each other through hell. They literally put each other through hell. Tables, ladders, everything. They literally put themselves through hell. But then probably the most memorable spot, and if not the queasiest spot they had in there, was Randy Orton's looking for something to use. And it looks like he's going to get a table, but then he looks and sees a toolbox. And he pulls that out. And then he pulls out of that toolbox a screwdriver. And you're thinking, what is going to happen here? And literally, what does he do? He goes right after the ear that he's been going after. And, oh my gosh. Literally puts this screwdriver through the earlobe, through the pierced earlobe of Jeff Hardy. Literally through the earlobe. Like, for those that have piercings and all that, you know what I'm saying, right? He literally put it like right through here, into here. It started twisting. He had it down like this. He started twisting and twisting. I'm thinking, oh, it's sick. Everybody agreed that was just, hard to watch. But again, I think this is basically WWE kind of testing the waters a little bit. Because, like I said, I think they realized that Fox can be a little edgy when it comes to the programming. So they're probably thinking, maybe they want something more edgy. Maybe we could show them that we can be edgy, and maybe Fox wants that. We don't know. Maybe Fox wants that. We don't know. But the point is, Jeff Hardy, the point is that was probably the sickest moment in the match. The other moment in the match was at the end. So Jeff Hardy has Randy Orton beaten down. Jeff Hardy hits a second twist of fate, almost like a stunner. It's a sit-down twist of fate. Like I said, it's almost like a stunner. and Randy falls back onto a table. Jeff beats him down a little bit, starts hitting him in the head to kind of keep him down on the table. And Jeff has 2 ladders set up. So what does Jeff do? He climbs the smaller ladder, and usually what happens with Jeff Hardy when it comes to this maneuver, when it comes to his repertoire using these ladders in this position, Jeff Hardy usually jumps over the smaller ladder, basically uses the smaller ladder sort of like a launching pad to leap over the taller ladder and go through his opponent, who's lying on a table or something. Well, Jeff Hardy had other things in mind. Instead, he decides to reenact a moment from TNA. And someone even put this in a GIF, if you will, or a little video GIF of him doing it in TNA, where it was successful, but him doing it here, it was not. Because basically what happened is Jeff Hardy looks up, he sees the support beams on the ceiling of the cell, and he starts climbing, well, not climbing those, but he starts hanging onto them and using his hands to go across a little bit to the point that he's right above Randy Orton, and he's swinging back and forth, and you're thinking, what is he going to do here? And for those that watched him do it in TNA, like I said, he was successful in doing it there. Here he was not, because basically as soon as he let go, Randy Orton just had enough time to get out of the way, and Jeff went crashing down through the table. Now, because of this, the referee wanted to stop the match because Jeff had literally hurt himself. It's like, well, we can't do this anymore. But Randy's like, oh no, you're not taking this from me. He forces the referee to count 3, and there you go. Randy Orton wins the match. Jeff Hardy is carted off on a stretcher, which basically means when he comes back, we're probably going to get Brother Nero and Willow in his place. Because remember, when Jeff Hardy was in a similar situation in TNA, he came back as Nero and Willow. So you didn't know who you were going to get. And if he's going to continue this feud with Randy Orton, this is logically the next step to go. Now, the next match of the night was Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair for the Women's SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And it was a good match. No doubt about it. These 2 women showed why they can bring it, back and forth. And like I said, it was good. Fans are very appreciative of it. You could tell the fan base was very, at most times at the beginning and sometimes throughout the match, was very pro Becky Lynch. But I kind of told myself during this match while I was watching it that it seems the San Antonio crowd isn't as disrespectful towards Charlotte or Becky. It's like, yeah, Charlotte got a mixed reaction coming out. I mean, she got a majority of boos, but it was kind of back and forth, It's like, she got some boos, there's no doubt about it, but like I said, it was kind of a mediocre, lukewarm reaction. It's like fans didn't want to boo her, just like they don't want to boo Becky. And you had your smart mark in the crowd, but again, like I said, they didn't want to boo Charlotte. They didn't want to boo her. They didn't want to boo Becky, obviously. So yeah, throughout the match, it was like I said, you had a pro Becky Lynch crowd out at times chanting "Let's go Becky," but you had some woos thrown in there as well. And in the end, Becky Lynch ends up winning. And how? She basically takes a spear and reverses it into some kind of a roll-up, or some kind of, I don't know what it was, like a power slam or something, but she basically turns it into a pinfall. She basically Charlotte spears her, but then she turns it around as soon as she gets it right into a pinfall and beats her. Now, the reaction that Becky had was winning the match was a babyface reaction, and the crowd popped for it. Now, Charlotte tried to be the better woman. Obviously, tried to shake her hand, but Becky's like, no, I don't want to shake your hand because you're not taking this moment from me. And I think what they're doing here with Becky here is they're trying to make her that tweener face, like that Stone Cold of the women's division. But more along the lines, I think the way they're starting out right now is to kind of make it like, Charlotte, that Becky doesn't want to have anything to do with Charlotte unless Charlotte agrees never to steal her spotlight. It's like, what I fear they're going to do, what I think they're going to do is play up the fact that Becky doesn't want to share the spotlight with anybody but herself, because she's afraid if she shares it with somebody, it's going to start going towards them and off of her. So if that's the direction they're going in, then we'll see where they go with it. But there is rumors going around that WWE is, as far as the SmackDown side of things go, are starting to realize that maybe they need to reverse the roles here. Because even though you could have the announcers still play up Becky being a heel and everything, it's obvious she's not. Heck, she did a backstage interview exclusively on WWE.com. She did a backstage interview on WWE.com on the YouTube page, an exclusive one, that from what I read on ringsidenews.com was very babyface-like. It's like, she basically said she was going to come and do what she said, because basically she just said, from what I understand in an interview, she said she was going to do what she was going to do, and she did. She wanted to prove she was better than Charlotte, and on this night she was. Now, the only thing that some people fear is they're going to do hot potato with this. Hopefully they don't do that. Because I think if you're going to give it back to Charlotte, you want to wait until at least maybe Survivor Series, maybe TLC to do it. So that way you can have a definitive blow-off to this rivalry. That's how you do it. I mean, Charlotte can wait. I mean, Charlotte's run basically at an 8th championship on the main roster, a 9th one overall if you count the NXT women's title. I think that could wait. Legitimately, I think that can wait. Hold on for a second. Like I said, I think legitimately that could wait. Now the next match on the card was the Tag Team Championship on the Raw side, which was really good. It was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose against Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. 2/3 of the Shield against 2/3, I guess, of the Dogs of War. Or the Pack, whatever you want to call them. And this was good. I mean, yeah, some people... I mean, one thing... Because... Now, at first, I can understand what Dalyxman meant when he said he was getting bored, didn't feel anything from this, he was going to go get some food. But obviously, that was just an exaggeration because he actually got into the match from what I sounded like as it went further on. And this match was really good. I mean, it kind of shows you what happens when you put the right people against each other and maybe you put the right person behind it, creative-wise and booking-wise, you could get a decent show. And this was good. Now, in the end, Dolph and Drew ended up winning because Seth basically did a blind tag, got himself into the match, got himself into the match, caught Dolph Ziggler into a suplex off the top rope into what he was going to do, which is kind of a combo for him. He does a superplex to his opponent, and then he turns it into a Falcon Arrow. Well, he was going to go for that. He hit the superplex, and as soon as he was going to go for the Falcon Arrow, Drew McIntyre comes in, hits the Claymore, Dolph Ziggler falls on top of Seth, and wins the match. So Dolph and Drew win. And one thing I kind of mentioned to Dalyxman on Twitter was, so far, if you want to count Becky as a heel, and they're still trying to play that up a little bit, but obviously she's not, it basically felt like a very heel heavy, as far as the main card goes, very heel heavy pay-per-view so far, because sorry about that, but like I said, I kind of told Dalyxman through Twitter that this felt like, for the time, a very heel heavy pay-per-view. In other words, very favorable to the heels. Then we get to the WWE Championship match between AJ and Samoa Joe, and say what you will, they did what they do best. They put on a great match, even though it may have started out a little sluggish. When they finally got their bearings, it turned out pretty good. And the ending is what and basically they did what they had to do, because the ending got people talking. The ending basically was AJ was going for his phenomenal forearm, and as soon as he launched himself, Joe caught him in the Coquina clutch, or Coquina clutch, whatever you call it, basically his submission. But AJ was able to use Joe's momentum to beat him. Because what happened is, when Joe was falling back with AJ to lock him in, AJ was able to get his legs over, a la Bret Hart against Roddy Piper, Bret Hart against Stone Cold, and pin Joe to the mat. But here's what happened though. Joe, after the bell was rung, Joe lets loose of the hold, thinking he won, but then he hears the referee say, "Steel champion AJ Styles." So we don't know what happened here. Joe's complaining that AJ tapped, and so we see a second replay from another camera angle, and it shows that as the referee's counting 3, AJ's tapping. But did AJ tap before the 3? Or just as soon as the referee's hand hit 3? We don't know. So this basically segued into a segment later on with Joe and the referee and Paige. And Paige says, "Look, his decision is final, but you are right, Joe. There needs to be a winner. We don't need any more screw-ups." So she basically makes the rematch at Super Showdown a no disqualification, no countout. Now, I've heard what Solomonster said. He said basically, if Joe hasn't won it yet, he's probably not going to win it. I wouldn't count on that just yet. Jason. I wouldn't count on that just yet, because you know why? Because I think they are going to give it to Joe. I really do. I don't know why, but I think they're going to give it to Joe. So that way, if they have to give it to Daniel, hey, they know they'll get a great match out of the two down the line. They know they'll get a great match out of the two down the line. Now, after that, we had the Raw Women's Championship match, and a lot of people were back and forth about this. You know, a lot of people did praise Ronda for doing excellent selling throughout the match, but there were a majority of fans that basically felt that this should have just been another squash. It's like, Ronda is supposed to be the baddest woman on the planet. Injured ribs or no, she should not be selling for someone like Alexa Bliss, who a lot of people still feel is kind of green and really doesn't belong in the ring right now, until she's fully trained, or she's fully come full circle as far as being an in-ring combatant. Now, some have also praised Alexa for having probably one of the better matches of her career, but again, the majority that feel that this should have been a squash and that Ronda shouldn't be selling for her outnumber that group of people that praised Alexa. Now, here's why a lot of people were not happy about this. Like I said, Alexa basically looking dominant at times against someone like Ronda Rousey just did not seem believable. But Ronda, as people say, give her credit. You know, she's taking this transition into being a pro wrestler, a WWE superstar, very seriously, because she's learning how to sell, and she's learning how to be a great in-ring technician or whatever. So anyway, Alexa's dominating. She's got Alicia Fox and Mickie James out there, and of course they kind of interfered temporarily until Natalya takes Alicia out with a suplex, and Mickie James gets on the rope, and she gets taken out by by Ronda, by getting rammed into the LED pole. So she gets taken out, but still the match goes on, and Alexa's still looking a little dominant. That is until you pretty much knew what was going to happen. And as I was watching the match, I was thinking, okay, the moment's coming when she's going to get cocky, and that's going to bite her in the butt. And guess what? In typical Alexa Bliss fashion, she got cocky. She held Ronda, because basically she had Ronda down like this on her knees, held her up, was holding her face like this, was mocking her, going, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And she just keeps mocking her, even doing Ronda's grr and all that at her. And then as soon as I think that moment happened, Ronda grabbed Alexa's arm, or wrist, and the facial expression on Alexa, I'll give Alexa credit. When it comes to facial expressions and selling with those, she's one of the best. Because after Alexa did that mocking of, Ronda's grr, Ronda just grabs her wrist, and Alexa's face goes from mocking to like, oh crap, I just made a mistake. Or like, oh crap, I think I just woke up a beast. And she did, because not only does Ronda get right back up and get in her face, and that demeanor changes to like, now you're going to get your ass whooped. She does the grr, and Alexa gets this frightened look, and she starts screaming. She's like, no, not again. And literally, it's just a foregone conclusion from there that Alexa ends up getting beat. I mean, she tries to come back a little bit, but she gets stopped like right there. It's like she tries to go for some kind of a hit or something like that with a fist. Ronda blocks her and literally just puts her into her finishing, her spinning Samoan drop, locks her in the armbar, and Alexa is done. So yeah, Alexa loses the match, and I don't think Alexa is going to be in the title picture for quite some time. So you might as well be used to seeing Alexa as a diva representing Raw. That's about it. So after that, we get the main event, which is Hell in a Cell between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. And this wasn't as violent as the first Hell in a Cell match that started the night, but it was alright. It was a good match. It was mostly Braun throughout, but I think the story throughout the match was every time each man would hit the other with a finisher or the signature move or a power move, or hit them with some kind of weaponry like a chair or a table or whatever, they would keep getting out. There were times, honestly, even the steel steps, and there were times, honestly, I thought they were going to actually have a moment where one would spear the other through the cage, but that didn't happen. And then, of course, came the moment in the match. Both guys are knocked down. Out come McIntyre and Ziggler to help Braun. Ambrose and Rollins come out to counter that. All four end up going on top of the cage. Braun and Roman are just laid out, catching their breaths or something, because obviously they basically beat the hell out of each other just enough to where they need to catch their breath before they can continue. So you have 2/3 of the Shield, 2/3 of the pack fighting on top of the cell. And then you have Ziggler and Rollins coming down from the cell. And that's probably when the moment's going to happen, and it does. Both men are fighting each other, climbing down, and by doing so, they both fall off the side of the cell onto the announce tables. Looks like Ziggler got the worst of it a little bit, and they're taken out. And as soon as that happens, Brock Lesnar's music hits, and he ends up coming out, sporting his, as people would say, his MMA beard, because he's getting ready to re-enter the octagon. He comes in, kicks the door down on the cell, uses it as a ramp to get into the ring. Paul Heyman sprays some kind of pepper spray on Mace in Mick Foley's eyes. Brock Lesnar gets into the ring and ends up annihilating both Roman and Braun with pieces of table and, of course, 2 F5s. Now, some people have noted that Brock looks a little smaller. It's because he's trimming down, obviously, for UFC, but still it looks like he has a contractual obligations or new contractual obligations with WWE. So yeah, basically after that, Brock leaves. Another ref comes in and says we can't continue the match because both men can't continue. And that's how they go off the air, and fans are not happy about that. In fact, according to what some reports have said, fans are chanting BS afterwards, if you know what I mean. So it looks like Brock either re-signed a new deal for a couple more dates, and I have a feeling one of those dates is going to be a triple threat match at Survivor Series between him, Roman, and Braun. That's pretty much what I think they're leading towards. So, overall though, besides that ending, which a lot of people did not like, I will give Hell in a Cell a B-, a B. I'd say about a B-, a B, because it was good except for that ending. I mean, there were some moments that you felt, well, they shouldn't have done it this way. They should have gone this way and not this way. But overall, besides that, it was a decent pay-per-view. So, overall, that's my review of Hell in a Cell. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on it. And check out Dalyxman's live stream that he did last night. And check out Wrestling Regrets review. And probably OTRS Central's review. And I will talk to y'all later. And even check out Solomonster Sounds Off review. But until then, guys, take care. God bless. I got to get back into work. And I'm out.